Yeah, so good morning to everyone. So in the today's session, I will be talking about the analysis of turbo machine, how we are going to do about it. Okay, so let's start with the class then. I think my screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So in the today's session, I'll be talking about the general analysis of a turbo machine. So here I'll be discussing about what is an impulse machine and what is a reaction turbine. Okay. So let's start with it then. Okay, so what is an impulse and what is a reaction machine? So before starting, so let's start with the discussion on what is an impulse turbine and what is a reaction turbine. Okay, so to start with it, I'm just taking the help of a slide over here. Okay, so let me start like this. So if I say impulse, and reaction comparison I'm doing here. So before starting this, I want to know, does anybody knows the Newton's laws of motion? Anybody knows the Newton's laws of motion? Can anybody state it? Newton's laws of motion? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Can anybody state the Newton's laws of motion?
Which one,
Which
sir?
one, sir? State the first one only. Start.
A
A
body in
body in
motion will
motion will
continue to be
continue
in
to be in
motion
motion
until and
until
unless
and
any
unless any
external force
external
is
force is
applied on it.
applied on it. Okay, so that is like it stays about the state of rest or of uniform motion. The
Yes.
first law states you that about what is the state of rest. What do you mean by state of rest or uniform motion? So that is what the first law deals with. Yes. Correct. So what does the second law states? What does the second law give you?
The rate
The
of
rate
change
of
of
change of
momentum
momentum
is
is
directly
directly
proportional to
proportional
force
to
applied.
force applied. Yes, the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to applied force. Correct? Yes. So now, what do you mean by momentum here? What is a momentum? What do you mean by
Mass
momentum? Mass
multiplied by
multiplied by
velocity.
velocity. Okay, good. Mass and velocity. If we multiply mass and velocity, we get the momentum. Okay. So can I write this like using the second law? Can I write F is directly proportional to the rate of change of momentum they are saying? What do you mean by rate of change of momentum? What do you mean by rate of change of momentum? So rate of change of momentum is final momentum minus initial momentum divided by, what is divided by? Time, to which, for example, initially it is at this point, so mass is something and velocity is something. So finally at after 10 seconds or some time t seconds, it reaches here, so that final velocity will be m into v. So now initial momentum is this, final momentum is this. So the rate of change of momentum is given by final minus initial divided by time. So this is the rate of change of momentum, or we can say mv minus u by t. Okay, so this is the rate of change of momentum. So I am using the second law here. I'm just writing this m into v minus u by t. Correct. Now I want to remove this proportionality constant. So if I want to remove this proportionality constant, I introduce a constant here. Proportionality sign, I introduce a proportionality constant, termed it as gc. So gc m v minus u by t. Is this okay? Now the value of gc by experimental, we will get it around 0.998 or something like that. So now I will round it off. Since it is 0.998, I will round it off to 1. Therefore we always neglect this gc and we'll write it as mv minus u by t. Since the value of gc is 1, but it is a proportionally constant, we have to include that. So for that reason, if we include that, the value is 0.998 or it is nearly equal to 1. So either we include it or we leave it. It does not change the magnitude of the given formula. So we can write f equal to m v minus u by t. Now, for instance, I want to check here. If I multiply this t to this side, I will get this as m v minus u. Can anybody say what is this? Anybody? Can anybody answer what you mean by f into t? What will give it to you?
Displacement, sir.
No. Displacement. What is displacement? Displacement is what displacement is equal to. Speed equal to distance by time. So speed into time gives you displacement, or distance traveled, or velocity into time gives you, not a force into time. What does force into time gives you? This is nothing but impulse. Are you getting what is impulse? Impulse is nothing but force applied for certain amount of time. That is nothing but the impulse. How many of you knew it, that impulse is this? Okay, so this is force applied for a certain amount of time. It gives you impulse. So what does impulse results in? What is this? RHS side. What does impulse results in? What is there? Change in momentum. So impulse equal to change in momentum. So whenever we apply the impulse, we get change in momentum. Again, I use this basic principle to explain you about the turbine here. Okay, so let's we understood that impulse, or I will write this, wait. I'll just write it as f into t gives you m v minus u, correct? So here f into t is nothing but the impulse, and what is m into v minus u? That gives you the change in momentum. So if you apply only the force, you will get rate of change of momentum. When you apply impulse, you get change in momentum. Are you understanding these two things? If we apply force, we get rate of change of momentum. But if we apply impulse, we get change in momentum. So what do you mean by applying impulse? So let us consider there is a turbine over here. This is the turbine blade which I am taking the help of it. Okay, so now there is a nozzle here. Okay, so from this nozzle there is a water jet which is hitting onto this turbine blade. Okay, so when this jet of water hits turbine blade for a certain amount of time, it is nothing but impulse. Are you understanding this first here? What do you mean by impulse? If a force is acted on something for a certain amount of time, that itself is called as the impulse. So when this happens, what happens to this turbine? What happens to this turbine? The turbine starts rotating. So as long as this impulse acts on this, this sets into motion. So if this sets into motion, what is there? There is change in momentum. Anybody like everyone is getting this, what is happening here, or it's confusing, or you are not understanding, or not listening? Somebody has got this one. What is this? Okay, fine. So this is the impulse and this is results in the change in momentum. Okay, so this is what happens here. So next, if I consider this, what is impulse? This is what. Now, how this impulse results? Okay, so impulse type of machines are those in which only the kinetic energy is available at inlet of the machine for the energy transfer. So what do you mean by this statement is, let's say what is the basic difference between impulse and reaction? Now I already said what is impulse now. So the turbine which acts on this motion is called as impulse turbine. So what, before understanding what happens in the impulse, so you should understand what is a nozzle here. So what happens inside a nozzle? A nozzle is a device which converts all the pressure energy of water into kinetic energy of water. So all the pressure energy is getting converted into kinetic energy. So if you remember your EME, basics of your elements of mechanical engineering, there you have studied something called as compounding. Do you remember? And this has been already asked in the first IA as well. So in that compounding, so what will be there in the compounding? We can see that there is a set of nozzle here and there is a set of moving blades. I will explain this again in the steam turbine syllabus. So in this nozzle, what happens? So in the nozzle, all the pressure energy is getting converted into kinetic energy. So the pressure energy will reduce here and the kinetic energy will completely increase. So initial kinetic energy will be 0 when it enters here. As the fluid flows through the nozzle, all the pressure energy is getting converted into kinetic energy. So at the inlet or at the outlet, only kinetic energy will be present. So at such type of turbines are called as impulse turbines. So coming to the reaction type, what is this reaction type is, there will be no in the reaction turbines there is no nozzles here. There is nozzle like structures called as guide blades. So sorry, there is nozzle like structures called as guide blades. What does this guide blades do? The function of this guide blades is two things. One is to guide the incoming fluid. The other thing is it reduces the pressure energy into kinetic energy in stepwise. So what happens in the nozzle? In the nozzle, there is complete reduction of pressure energy to kinetic energy. But what happens in the guide blades? There is stepwise reduction. It is not like completely get reduced. A little pressure energy will drop, and meanwhile a little kinetic energy will come up. Again little stable, again little reduce in the pressure energy, again stable, again little reduce in the pressure energy, again stable. Same way here, kinetic energy increases, again decreases, increases, decreases, increases, decreases. So what is happening here between the pressure energy and kinetic energy is, in the case of reaction turbines, is there is at the inlet of the moving blades. For example, if this is the guide blade and if this is the moving blade, at the inlet of the moving blade there will be two types of energies. One is pressure energy and the other one is the kinetic energy. So how we can write this diagram is, so for example, this is the kinetic energy which is impinging on the turbine. Meanwhile, there is something called as pressure energy which is acting in the reverse direction. Together it forms a energy or the resultant energy. So there are two energies which is available at the inlet, due to which a reaction force is generated, and that reaction force leads or sets the turbine into motion. So this is what happens in the reaction turbine and that what happens in the impulse turbine. Okay. So this is the complete analysis of the impulse and reaction turbine. So impulse type of machines are those in which only the kinetic energy is available at the inlet of the machine for the energy transfer. Okay, the static pressure at the inlet is same as the static pressure at the outlet of the machine. So that means the pressure remains the same here, and the degree of reaction is 0. Hence it signifies that VR2 equal to VR1 for impulse machine, that is relative velocity. Okay, this is the nozzle, this is the paddle. Okay, this is the impulsive force, which we can give the man-boat analogy. If you want, I can show you what is this man-boat analogy is. So when a man jumps on the boat, that is, say we can compare here man to the fluid and boat to the rotor blade. So what happens when he jumps on this? The boat moves little further. So for that reason, what happening here? Whenever the fluid impinges on it, it sets into motion. So that is what we are showing the man-boat analogy for the impulse machine. So reaction machines are those in which both kinetic and pressure energy of the fluids are available at inlet. Hence in this case, VR2, the relative velocity at outlet, is not equal to relative velocity at inlet. So VR2 will be greater than the VR1. Hence pressure varies across the machine. So this is a common lawn sprinkler, we can say. So this is the reaction we can say. So whenever a man jumps out of the boat, he experiences a force which is pushing him forward, and there is a reaction force which is developed inside the boat, which makes it to move backward. So that is the reaction here. Okay, so we can use the lawn sprinkler also. By just spraying little amount of water, it moves further. So that is what happens there. Okay, anybody has anything to ask? A machine with any degree of reaction must have an enclosed rotor so that the fluid cannot expand freely in all directions. Okay. Yeah. So let's start. Define the degree of reaction. What do you mean by degree of reaction? It is defined as the ratio of static energy transfer due to the static pressure change to the total energy transfer due to the total pressure change in a rotor. So there will be two pressure changes here. One is static pressure change, the other one is total pressure change. So the ratio of those two things gives you the degree of reaction. So you can see here static head by the total head, or static enthalpy change in the rotor to the total enthalpy change in the rotor. So in the alternate form of Euler turbine equation, we already know that the static head is given by u1 square minus u2 square plus vr2 square minus vrn square, and the total head is given by this. So divided. So you will get it 1 by 2 gc, 1 by 2 gc goes off. These two will be cut down. So the remaining is u1 square minus u2 square. So S d plus S, we can say dynamic head plus S stands for static and D stands for dynamic. So dynamic plus static head. So can we say that S equal to R by 1 minus R into D? This is just the calculation here. It's nothing like R equal to S by D plus S. So if you send D plus S this side, R into D plus S equal to S. So RD plus RS equal to S. So now if I send RS to this side, RD equal to S minus RS. So yes, if I take common 1 minus R, so then we can write it as RD equal to S into 1 minus R. So S is equal to R by 1 minus R into D. This is just one small conversions, that's it, nothing difficulty over here. So the value of R may be like any value, 0, positive or negative. So 0 degree reaction is the characteristic of impulse machine. If we say there is 0 degree reaction, we are concluding that it is an impulse machine, because there is no reaction, only impulse is there, therefore it becomes an impulse machine. So now coming to utilization factor, important thing. What do you mean by utilization factor here? So even for an ideal fluid, all the energy supplied at inlet of any turbine cannot be converted into useful work. So that means all the energy which is getting supplied to the turbine or which is given to the turbine, all that energy cannot be completely converted into useful work. So due to finite exact velocity or loss of velocity at the machine outlet, which being wasted without use. So there is some energy which is being wasted, or it is an outlet energy which is not being used. So that is a waste energy. So to define this, the utilization factor comes into the picture. So the ratio of ideal work transfer by the rotor to the energy supplied is called as the diagram efficiency or utilization factor. So E utilized by E available. How much it is available, how much it is utilized. That gives you the utilization factor. Okay. Now, what is the available energy? So the available energy is nothing but we should not consider the exit velocity here. Without considering the exit velocity, what we are getting, that is the available energy. Okay. And energy utilized. What is the energy utilized? By using completely taking all the three components of the energy transfer, that will be the energy utilized. Okay. By the definition of utilization factor, this is what it is. This is what. Okay. So it can be written as, if we add V2 square GC, this is what happens here. So ideal by I ideal plus losses. Losses is nothing but the outlet kinetic energy. Outlet kinetic energy. Okay. So now this is what we can give here. E ideal is obtained by Euler turbine equation. E VUW1 U1 U2 VW2 by this much. The velocity components and energy values in the above equation are based on the ideal velocity diagram. In the above equation, if the numerator refers to the actual energy transferred by the rotor and the denominator refers to the ideal energy transfer, then the resulting parameter is known as vane efficiency or diagram efficiency or blade efficiency, we can say it as. So that is our ratio of actual energy transfer to the ideal energy transfer. What is hydraulic? We are defining here different efficiencies here. So what do you mean by hydraulic efficiency? Actual energy transferred by the rotor in the presence of fluid friction to the energy available at the rotor. So here we are taking the hydraulic efficiency as actual energy output by hydrodynamic energy available from the fluid. So these are different efficiencies which you have to understand here. So if mechanical efficiency is 1, then hydraulic or adiabatic efficiency is same as the utilization factor. Now this is an important thing, that is relation between degree of reaction and utilization factor. So this you know by the definition of degree of reaction, and by the definition of degree what utilization factor, you know that it is given by this. So using the two equations, we can express this as V1 square minus V2 square, V1 square minus RV2 square. This complete explanation how we can derive it also, I think I have shown you in the notes. However, I will explain it once over here. Okay, so I will just start doing this. Utilization factor is given by V1 square minus V2 square plus U1 square minus U2 square plus VR2 square minus VR1 square whole divided by V1 square plus U1 square minus U2 square plus VR2 square minus VR1 square. Okay, so the degree of reaction R is given by VR2 square minus VR1 square plus U1 square minus U2 square whole divided by V1 square minus V2 square plus U1 square minus U2 square plus VR2 square minus VR1 square. Okay, so now if I multiply this denominator with R, so we can represent this as VR2 square minus VR1 square plus U1 square minus U2 square equals to R V1 square minus V2 square plus U1 square minus U2 square plus, I will just use a flower bracket here, VR2 square minus VR1 square. So now multiply this R here inside the bracket. So we will get this as R V1 square minus V2 square plus, I'll just use this R and I'll just multiply this as U1 square minus U2 square plus VR2 square minus VR1 square. Okay, so now if this becomes, let us treat this as Rx, which Rx plus correct, Rx so let us treat this as our x, so it will become R V1 square minus V2 square plus Rx. Okay, so further we can write this as, if I take R common, or in the place if you want to express it as R common, or just a second. Yeah, so this becomes Vr2 square x equal to r v1 square minus v2 square plus rx, correct? So now bring rx to this side, that becomes x minus rx equal to r v1 square minus v2 square. So now x, if you take common, that becomes 1 minus r equal to r v1 square minus v2 square, correct? So now if I want to relate it to x equal to r v1 square minus v2 square whole divided by 1 minus r. Okay, now substitute this x value in the utilization factor. Okay, so what we can write here, v1 square minus v2 square. So this is the x here. Basically in the place of x I am writing it as r v1 square minus v2 square by 1 minus r whole divided by v1 square, again this is x here, I am writing this as r v1 square minus v2 square whole divided by 1 minus r. Okay, so if you simplify, you will arrive at the equation epsilon equal to v1 square minus v2 square by 1 minus v1 square minus r v2 square. So this is the relation between degree of reaction and utilization factor. Fine then guys, so I think let's stop over here then.